What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the After Prison Show Podcast. This is episode 4, and always sitting across from me is the infamous Yanni.
The infamous. I like that nickname. I think the only problem that I have with it is that people might get me and Conor McGregor confused because his nickname is also the infamous. So just for those of you at home, just don't make that mistake. I'm not Conor McGregor.
You're certainly not.
People confuse me with him all the time. It's insane. I think it's my fighting style.
No comment. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into this thing. We want to get this thing started off with a bang, and I think the way that we're going to do that is Yanni's about to make another phone call to the prison because we are trying to locate that red book. We have to have that. So, Yanni, why don't you go ahead and make that phone call?
Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know anything about the Red Book, if you're just tuning in now to the APS podcast, because I believe this is episode 4, in episode 2, I think that we made a call to Indian Creek regarding the Red Book, and the Red Book was basically Joe and I, it was our playbook, or it wasn't by choice, it was the playbook that CEC, which is the company which is subcontracted to provide therapeutic assistance to inmates at the Indian Creek Correctional Facility. It's the handbook for life.
It's supposed to help you change your lifestyle, change your way of thinking. This is the play-by-play book that they use when trying to brainwash prisoners to think the way that they want us to think.
Yeah, but it's an important distinction to make that this program is a complete sham. Like, there's nothing about it which is going to equip you for real life and real world situations.
You haven't used danger spotting out here in the real world?
I should have done it before I walked into your condo, Joe. It would have saved me a lot of hassle, a lot of pain, and a lot of suffering. I mean, because every time I walk through that door, I have to relive prison experiences, and you've sort of like made your bones doing that. But for me, just being a month out, putting the 2-piece oranges on and making Dorito-y ice cream today. I mean, really, like...
We haven't even had a chance to discuss that just yet. But let's go ahead and jump right into the phone call, Yanni. We need to get this red book.
That's the goal. The goal is for me to make this phone call, which I'm doing right now. Are you guys ready?
I'm certainly ready. I'm going to try to contain my laughter because this is going to be hilarious.
It might be. Cody, are you ready? Let's make sure we're filming this time because, okay. All right.
So look, I'm going to try my damnedest not to be laughing. It's going to take everything in me. You have to ask to speak with Piero. He's
Mr. Piero.
He's the head of this thing.
But if it's not Mr. Piero, surely there's someone. I wish we could. Who was the one that the counselor that used to wear the penguin hat? Do you remember her? She was a barrel of laughs.
There were a lot of them up there that were a barrel of laughs.
Wow. Okay. What happened? Something happened. Okay, some technical difficulties on the phone. Joe, as soon as you're ready.
I was born ready.
So do it? Okay, let's do it. It's happening. Okay, this is a phone call to the Indian Creek.
You have reached Indian Creek Correctional Center. If you know your party's extension, you may enter it at any time.
0.
For a departmental listing, press 1. For directions. Wait while I transfer your call.
Yes, ma'am. My name is a lot of people in there knew me as Peaches. A lot of the counselors knew me in there as Peaches. But on the street, my name's this is my third phone call to this facility, and I had mentioned that we have a Facebook group of 18 or 19 guys that are continuing the CEC therapeutic lifestyle on the outside, and so we've done really well with it. The only problem that we have at this point is we just don't have the red book. We need all the rules and all the regulations, or else I think the whole thing will fall apart. Who would I need to speak to regarding that issue? Yes, ma'am.
Well, you're on hold now, so it doesn't matter. That's Banks. Do you...
What if I run into somebody that knows Mike Carney? That's going to be a problem. Our voices don't really match up.
your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that. Okay, let's try it one more time. And now I'm. But I need help. I need therapeutic community immediately, or else there's going to be a major problem. If you could reach me at 627 Life, it's all falling apart. Okay.
No, man. You can't be prank calling them and leaving them voicemails like that. You know, that's going to mess it all up. So what are you going to do? I cannot believe.
Call back. I'm going to be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Somebody stole my
Look,
phone.
I got released from Indian Creek 2 years ago. The last thing I want to do is hear anything from you people. So please, lose my number. I mean, I'm going to... Yeah, come on.
I cannot believe you called that place and told them that you were peaches.
Let me talk to Mr. Burford. Now, Mr. Burford, I'm going to try this one more time.
And just use a completely different voice and just ask for Mr. Burford. Can you patch me through to Burford?
Can you patch me through to Burford?
They've got your number on the caller ID, by the way.
Well, we can solve that. Watch this.
What are you going to do, star 69?
Star 67, I think, works sometimes.
Dude, Yanni, it's 2017. I'm not even sure these old school tactics still work.
Well, I mean, and that's all part of getting out of prison, right? I mean, is this sort of like adapting to new things or not adapting at all? In the meantime, while I'm setting this up, what else we have on the plate today?
Well, we can definitely talk about what we just filmed earlier today, which was my disaster of an idea for this prison ice cream video. Yanni, you wanna give any insight and feedback onto that?
No, I mean, you know, I mentioned this during the
intro.
Yeah, during the intro that, well, it wasn't during the intro. You know, I thought it was going to go one way, and then, like you always do, you know, it could be a wig, it could be a beard, it could be tattoo sleeves, it could be a change of topic, but you changed the ingredient list
pretty much at the last minute. I called an
on
audible.
camera.
I called an audible.
Yeah. What was the audible that Peyton Manning made for like that entire year?
Omaha.
Yeah, yeah. Don't ever do an Omaha again. Okay.
1. For directions to the institution, press 2.
Yeah, I don't need directions to the institution. I know exactly where that shithole is.
On the line, and your call will be directed to the operator.
All right, here we go. Mr. Burt.
And Banks. You don't remember who Banks is?
No, I don't know who Banks is.
Oh, God.
Who the hell is Banks? I remember Collins.
She was a nightmare. They might not want to answer the call.
I guess they're not interested in saving lives.
This isn't 911. I wonder if they've got a voicemail.
Bank speaking. How may I help you, sir, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm looking for Mr. Burford.
He's not in today.
Do you know when he'll be back?
No, I don't.
What about Mrs. Collins?
She's not in today.
How you guys? What do you guys got? A skeleton crew over there? How you running that place?
So they had vacation time, sir.
Hey, vacation. Well, you got any other big shots over there? Any other big wheels I can talk to?
No, who do you need to speak to? There's two are not here. Who else do you need to speak to?
CEC.
Someone in the CEC, maybe Mr. Piero.
He's going for today.
There's got to be somebody else, a dorm supervisor, maybe not a dorm supervisor, but another building supervisor.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out why you're calling and who you need to speak to. You're asking when everyone is not here. What is this calling?
Well, look, I had a friend of mine. He called. I'm John Baker, and he had called and asked for. We're trying to continue this therapeutic business over here on the street, and we've had major issues and stumbling blocks with the acquisition, I guess you could say, of the therapeutic community, the CEC Red Book. And so I wanted to talk to these, all these people. They remember me. They all know John Baker. I mean, I was a major player at that institution. And so what I want to do is I want to continue. We're trying to continue the legacy on the street. Okay, I mean, you guys got the whole institutional thing locked down, but we're trying to continue it on the street. And in order to do that, I got to talk to a big shot.
Okay, hold on, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
She's going to transfer you to the police station.
Good afternoon, operations. This may I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking for somebody in CEC that can, maybe help out somebody who's trying to better themselves on the street.
You're looking for someone someone who can do what, sir?
So who can help me out and so I can continue to better myself on the street. I'm trying to continue the legacy of the CEC program. And I was there. My name's Johnny Baker. And I was there about a year and a half ago. I got out. And so the thing is that we got this group where we introduced everybody, back to the program and on Facebook. And so we don't have the red. What we need is the red book or something similar. If it ain't really the red book, I mean, you could give me the book, and they just use black and white on the copier, and it just be the white and black book. Either way, the critical part of this whole equation is that we are able to save our lives and better ourselves on the street. Does that make any sense?
Let me put you on hold for a second and see if somebody in programs can speak with you. Hold on just a minute.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Thank you so much.
You almost blew that. Huh? You sound just like John Baker, though.
I don't sound anything like John Baker.
You do, kind of.
I think John Baker, he's got a real squeaky...
No, what are you? Cody is such a conspiracy theorist, man. These people do not have like cutting edge technology.
They might.
Cody says that he can hear us while we're on hold.
They might be able to.
Well, look, I mean, so that's no problem because it's just Mike.
And Mike and Johnny...
I'm going to transfer you to Miss Grant, who's the Director of Clinical Services in our Programs Division.
Perfect.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Grant. She's
Grant, so hold on just a moment. I'm going to transfer you.
tremendous lady.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, so Miss Grant, just to give you like a little visual reference, touchdown.
She's a nightmare. Get ready.
Oh shit! Now I'm getting nervous. God. You should change the name from After Prison Show to Going Back to Prison Show. She's not going to answer. That's okay. We've laid the foundation.
Lori Grant.
Lori.
I didn't know. What a...
Just hang up. We don't need to leave a message. We've made it this far.
Yeah. Well, I feel so unsatisfied, but at least, we've laid the foundation.
Yes,
for,
we're definitely getting a lot deeper in
something
this.
really special. Because this is very important. I think for somebody other than myself. Definitely not for me.
Well, you definitely were nailing the John Baker. I can't believe that you called and said that you were Peaches at first. That was absolute insanity right there. Now, let me go ahead and give you a little...
I thought it sounded more like Joe Pesci.
No more shines, Billy.
I thought it sounded more like...
Joe Pesci?
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci?
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
No, not at all.
Never heard.
Worst impersonation I've ever heard in my life. But look, the woman that you were speaking to at first, the officer, Banks, they used to call her Duckface because, her hairstyle resembled that of the back of a duck, like the butt of a duck. That's how she looked. And she had the walk of a duck and also sort of like the demeanor of a duck. This woman had very short, like, gold hair. And she was also super bipolar. Super bipolar. One day she would be the friendliest, nicest woman you could ever meet in your life. And then the next day, she wouldn't even know who you are and would look at you like you're some sort of a murderer. What are you doing? Why are you even talking to me? Who are you? Where is your ID badge at? And why are you not in dress compliance?
Wow. How do I not remember this lady?
Have to remember her.
Where was she a dorm CO?
She was a floater.
Oh, she was a floater.
Yeah, and she worked in the chow hall. She definitely would be
Was
in the
she
chow.
in 3B when we were in there?
She would come in there from time to time. She definitely didn't work in the building though. But
Miss Banks. What was she shaped like? Was she normal sized or
she was
supersized?
she was an older woman, probably mid to late 40s. Decent body,
Yeah.
not bad.
Okay.
But I mean, just the whole bipolar demeanor of her.
Now, when you say decent body, are we talking like deuce and a half?
I mean, yeah, probably a deuce and a half in prison, though. I mean, shit, you're talking
That's
about
shapely.
You're talking about a strong 7 right there.
Yeah, strong 7. Yeah, strong 7.9 at least. Emphasis on the 9. Yeah.
But anyways, Yanni, I want to say that we're definitely getting closer to something. I don't know.
One step closer to the prize. At least when I talk to these people next time, they'll say, "Oh, Mike Carney."
I can't believe they didn't remember you. I can't believe Banks especially did not remember you.
What do you mean? Didn't remember my voice?
Didn't remember Peaches.
Oh, well, she may have. Maybe she was trying to be like professional. She had to be thinking certainly Peaches is very memorable.
You're not going to forget that name. You will never forget that name nor that person.
I mean, and you'll never forget. Yeah, I mean, because Peaches was like probably legendarily known throughout the system as like the ugliest gump that ever lived. I mean,
Gump, strong word.
Well, no, I mean, it's a very popular movie that came out in 1994, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Tom Hanks. I mean, everybody knows.
But anyways, what
I
you're
wonder where
saying,
that term came from.
yeah, a prison gump is
Is
just a term for a gay guy in
Like
prison.
a subservient homosexual that might do favors for not a lot of money.
But again, we're getting closer to getting the red book. I'm almost curious to know that if we can't just get this thing off the internet, because I was doing a little bit.
I don't see it.
Well, I was doing a little bit of research myself at the same time, and I don't know. I'm definitely gonna look for it because there's some terms that we need to know. There's some terms that we should share with everybody. The one term that I said earlier, danger spotting. One that you mentioned, view switching. Which, if you think about these terms, and there's a whole list of other terms that go along with this. Not only do you have to know these terms, you have to take a test on this stuff. And you have to know, like, pretty much this entire book from cover to cover, word for word.
Yeah, you have to apply them. They want examples. You need to know the term. You need to know the definition. And then they want you to be able to sort of apply it to a real world situation or an institutional situation. I think you had to do that a number of times on the test.
Well, not only that, because all of this was in an effort to phase up. And it wasn't like you really wanted to phase up, but you had to phase up. Because if you didn't phase up, the program got a little more laxed as you did phase up. So you started as a green dot, and then you would phase up to a yellow dot, and then you would phase up to a blue dot. Right. But then they emphasized, they put into effect some other colors as well, like purple and red. And like if you were a purple dot, well, you were just completely done.
Purple dot was restricted or reserved only for the veterans. They had a building that was devoted strictly to veterans who were locked up.
But see, I'm not sure if it was the purple dot or the red dot. It was one of those two colors that was, like you're saying.
I take it back. I think actually it's the other way around. I think the red dot was for the veterans and the purple dot was like the next step above a blue dot. If you had a purple dot, you could sit in your rack all day and watch television.
But
like a normal inmate.
Do you remember what the requirements were to become a purple dot?
Oh, they were unreal. I don't remember. I know that like there were 2 people on the entire compound that had a purple dot.
Like I'm going to explain this in a second of just how insane it was to actually try to acquire a purple dot, and nobody was doing this because once they said how you had to go about becoming a purple dot, nobody was trying to do this at all. But let me just touch on real quick the blue dot, phasing up to the blue dot.
Okay.
You would have to, of course, know the book, take the test. But not only did you have to take the test, then you had to go in front of what was, if you remember, the panel.
Oh yeah, the panel. And they only did the panel like once every 2 weeks or a month. So if you screwed up in front of the panel, then it would be, I think it was like another month.
And the panel was serious business. Do you remember what you would have to do? Let's just talk
Miss
about
Grant, who I just talked to, or I tried to get in touch with on the phone.
Yeah.
She was on my panel.
Yeah, but real quick, let's just talk about what the panel actually consisted of. Because you would walk into a room. Yeah. First, you would be in a waiting room.
Yeah.
And then one of these inmate police officers would call your name. It's almost like a job interview.
That's right.
Right? But when you walked into this room, the only thing that would be in this room would be this long desk. Yeah. And sitting behind that desk would be a cadre.
Was doom.
Yeah, there would be a cadre or maybe 2 cadres, and then one of the king cockroach, personnel of this whole program, right?
Yeah.
It would be somebody like that woman, Miss Grant, you were just talking about. It could be Skeldon. It could be Collins. It could be Pirro. I mean, you just never knew who was in there. It was almost like going to court. So you'd be like, hey, who's in there on the panel?
Yeah, and it was like it was like catching somebody cool on the panel.
And
like,
that was,
if you got Collins,
she was actually not.
She wasn't too bad,
right?
Yeah.
But if you got Grant,
ooh boy, if you got Grant,
and even Skeldon, Skeletor Skeldon,
sure.
we spoke of her in one of the other podcasts. She used to be the head of the entire therapeutic community program, but she also was relatively cool. She was kind of lax. Piero
She could be.
Piero, on the other hand, the guy that took over for her, complete flip of the script. I mean, this guy was insanity when it came to this guy might have had therapeutic community tattooed across his chest. I mean,
I actually think Skelding's heart, in a weird sort of way, was in the right place.
absolutely.
She just didn't really understand how. I think that she also, that those people also have to work with and sort of for DOC. So they're not really equals. They're really subservient to DOC because, of course, they're subcontracted by the Department of Corrections. I mean, their livelihood is completely reliant on them.
The success of the program.
Yeah. So if they don't do what DOC tells them to do, even if they know it's wrong, then they're out of a contract and they're out of a job. So their hands were certainly tied.
But let's talk real quick about what it would be like to go into this panel. What do you remember, if anything? Do you remember what it was like?
Yeah, well, you were in a room, there's sort of a waiting room at Smith Hall. Smith Hall is where one would go to.
It was just a room with classes. I mean, a building with classrooms in it.
That's it. And the first stage is that, actually, if I remember correctly, you take the written test, and on a different day you go to the panel. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But the first thing that you would have to do when you go in there
Right.
is you have to recite the philosophy.
The philosophy.
Which is painted. I mean, I painted the philosophy in many buildings
did.
as a mural painter.
Yeah.
And the philosophy is almost like the mission statement of the program. And I can't remember exactly how this thing goes. It was something along the lines of, first, let us know these things, that our lives matter, that we were born with potential, that we are not the victim of circumstance. Oh, my God, I'm remembering this thing.
Wow.
That we were...
I knew it would work.
Yeah, goddamn, that program, I swear. But it was like 2 paragraphs of, bullshit.
Well, I mean, you could really be like a shining example. I think you were
First,
actually mentioned.
let us
in
know
the
these
Wikipedia
things.
entry. I think we talked about that another day as sort of like. So if you looked up Indian Creek on Wikipedia, you would have Old Joe mentioned as sort of like a success story.
I was a notable prisoner.
A notable prisoner.
Right. Even though Sweet Pea Whitaker was there as well, but yet.
So
I'm the
forget about
star.
Mike Carney and Johnny Baker.
I should just call it myself and be like, hey, it's Joe Guerrero calling you from After Prison Show. How you doing? I need to get one of those red books ASAP. Stat. Can you get that for
Yeah,
me?
give me that stat. And then the doors fly open. It's just
It
like
could be. It could be.
The gates of heaven just open up for Joe Guerrero automatically on name recognition alone.
Joe Guerrero, come up here and sign the red book for me.
Yeah.
But look, really,
Absolutely.
when you go into the panel, you would have to recite the philosophy first. You could not miss not one word on that. You had to have it verbatim, word for word. If you messed it up, it was over just like that for you. You failed the panel, you would have to come back and do it another day.
And one of the other things that you had to do, in addition to the reciting of the philosophy, in front of the 3-person panel, I think you also had to expound upon your progress that you've made. Like, how has this program changed your life? How has it changed your point of view? How has it...
Well, they would also ask you to explain how your life is being changed by the program by using some of the terms that were popular within
Right,
the
so you
program.
had to incorporate the...
like danger spotting,
Yeah.
view switching.
View
And
switching.
there were so many of them. I think there was like 12 of them. And we were only
wood
coming...
watching, I think, was one of them.
sword fighting?
Yes.
No, but seriously, there was like 12 of these things, and they would ask you, they would say, well, why don't you give us a couple of these terms? And there's a word for this. I'm drawing a blank on this. But they'll say, tell us how these words, or tell us which words you're applying to your everyday life and how they're actually changing it.
Yeah, define them and then apply them to your daily routine. And then you had to manufacture a write-up. Like I had someone, you have to write someone up. And this is something that when you come to Indian Creek, it flies in the face of everything that you've ever known about being a convict.
It's snitching, basically.
Yeah, so you need to write somebody up. And so you have to, in order to save your reputation, save your face card, save your
cred.
your cred, your street cred, your institutional cred.
You would write your buddy up. You'd be like, hey, look, I'm going to write you up because your bunk's out of compliance.
Right.
And it was that was the code, you know. So long as you were keeping it 100, you were the real guy. Because a lot of guys would get there and they would fall right into the bear trap. They would be like, oh my God, this shit is actually working. I'm going to write up every single prisoner that I see in here whose shirt is halfway untucked, whose name badge is not on correctly, and who isn't pulling up to group on time.
I know. How annoying was it to be out on the walk and run into a cadre who, like if I didn't have a blue dot, I remember one of the perks of having a blue dot is now I could wear my Nikes or my New Balances out on the, which I always did it anyway. Like, I mean, they were free. I just, I'm a rule breaker by nature, I guess.
You couldn't even wear your tennis shoes unless you had phased up to the blue dot.
The only workaround you had was to wear your Timbs because they sell those Timberland Pros.
Right.
Yeah, and so you could do that. You could wear the boots, but a lot of people can't afford those. It's definitely a premium item.
Yeah, because they're like $100.
Yeah, I still have mine actually.
And the crazy damn
You
thing
still
about
have yours?
No, long story. I lost so much prison memorabilia. Tragic situation, tragic story.
Like home invasion? Like somebody's like, just give me the Indian Creek stuff.
No, I don't know if I told you. Did I tell Cody? I told somebody
You
about
definitely didn't
this.
tell me. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's a long.
So you lost all your stuff. You
Yeah,
want to
but-
save that for another episode, or
Well, I mean,
is it
real
just
quick.
not that interesting?
Oh, it's interesting.
Oh, well, then let's hear it.
Well,
Have you already gone over it in a video?
no, never. I've never
Wow.
talked
Well,
about
this
it.
is your time. APS Army. There's your opportunity to hear something you've never heard before.
So there was a lot of stuff that I came home from prison with. A notebook that was filled with all sorts of cartoons that I drew, cartoons that I'll never have access to again.
Yeah.
All of the letters that I received, letters from book authors who helped me to get published in books. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, artwork, just so much.
Your
shit.
life's work. I mean, your entire
Yeah, my-
catalog of
my-
material from the 7 years in prison.
My photo album. I mean, pictures that I don't have, and I'll never have those again. And it was when I was with my ex-girlfriend. We had gotten into a fight. We broke up. This was when YouTube was. This is when I was still working at the concrete company, and I was still pursuing YouTube very, 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 very hard at that time. But we broke up. And I left for like a week. I went and stayed with another girl, and while I was gone, she threw every fucking thing away. Everything.
Wow.
Everything.
That
and
is so vengeful.
Yeah, and I came back to the apartment, and all of my stuff was at the bottom of the dumpster. It had been thrown away like 2 days prior. I could still see stuff under, down at the bottom of the dumpster, but there's 2 days worth of trash in the dumpster at this point. And the only way I would be able to get this stuff out would be to essentially empty the entire dumpster. So, I mean, it's gone.
It kind of reminds me of that scene with Harrison Ford and Sean Connery at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where the Holy Grail has actually fallen down into this crevasse, and there's a little sort of rock formation that it's resting on, and Indiana Jones can almost reach it, but it's just not there. Like, you could see the stuff at the bottom of the
dumpster.
the dumpster, but you just couldn't get to it, or you weren't willing to get to it. And Sean Connery knows that if he reaches too far, he's going to fall. So Sean Connery says, "Let it go, Indiana. Let it go." And that's what you had to do right there at the dumpster. Watch out for the microphone.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. Thinking back on it now, God bless it, I wish I would have dug every bit of trash out of there, especially for the photo album, especially for the notebook, especially for the letters. I mean, there was just so much stuff it's gone. It's lost forever.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's one thing about you that Joe was always, he is an extremely industrious individual. Like, there's a lot of lazy people in prison, and I certainly don't consider myself to be one. But
No, you definitely weren't.
in terms of output, he just really has an incredible amount of discipline to sort of like, to just keep cranking out the cartoons, keep cranking out the essays and the material and the write-ups and all that sort of thing.
The write-ups.
Well, I didn't want to expose you on,
Joe was definitely not doing any writing up. But
honestly.
if
How
you're
many
talking
did you write up while you were there? But write-ups what were they called?
blogs.
No. I know that. But
That's
I
what-
mean in Indian Greek.
Well, first of all, what you're talking about with the write-ups were the blogs, because I was definitely doing the blog very, I was doing that a lot while I was there. The write-ups, they were called write-ups. That's what they were. And, I did one. I only did one. I can't even remember who I wrote up. I think I wrote up Kenny Weaver, my
K.
bunkie.
Weaver.
K. Weaver.
That how we talk.
Hey, K. Weaver community.
Community, family, K. Weaver.
K. Weaver. That was my dog, though.
Do you remember K. Weaver's his cousin that was in there? He actually ended up being a cadre.
Who?
I don't remember his name, but I was in one building with him, and he was one of those true believers. I mean, he was.
Kenny was a white guy.
Yeah, this guy was a larger black guy.
Yeah, because Kenny's family was definitely mixed.
He's mixed.
Or he was adopted or something along those lines. Right. But yeah, Kenny was a great dude. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. I can't remember who the guy was.
See, Kenny had to do a lot of things that Joe and I didn't necessarily have to do because he was behavior modification. And those behavior modification, when Joe's time runs out and when my time runs out, we were drafted, which 85%, I would say, 80% at least of the inmates there were what were called drafted. They were just shipped to Indian Creek.
Right. That meant they didn't have to complete the program, but because they were at the place, they had to participate in the program, right. And it was always beneficial to you to just go ahead and get it out of the way however you could.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if your level of participation was extremely low, then they could conceivably throw you in the hole and kick you off the compound, which on the surface of it, well, hey, getting kicked off the compound, you guys don't want to be there anyway, right? So that's a good thing. Well, no, it's not a good thing because it also there's a charge that comes with that, and it jacks your earning time level up.
You lose your good time.
And you lose your good time.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had a lot of guys like me and you who were just drafted and sent there for whatever reason. But then you had these other guys who were sentenced to this program. And it was called...
behavior modification.
No, but it was like BC or something.
BCP.
BCP.
Yeah, it was BCP.
Behavior Control Program or something?
Probably, something like that.
Yeah.
Or Behavioral Corrections Program, Behavioral Control Program.
Something along those lines. So you had these BCP guys who were there, and they had to do the program. Because if they didn't do the program, then they had the chance of going back into the courtroom and getting an astronomical sentence.
Right, and there's a single judge that has to review the progress, and then he makes the determination whether he's satisfied with that progress. I mean, and 9 times out of 10 they do it, but I mean, it takes some time. Like, when your paperwork is submitted by your counselor, I've seen guys wait 45, 60 days until it's completed, and they sort of advertise it as an 18-month, or they promote it as an 18-month to 24-month program.
Right.
I don't know anybody that completed it before 24 months.
Not at all. I don't think it's going to happen before 24 months. And you'll have a lot of guys who will get there and will have the ill illusion that is possible. Oh, man, I'm going to do this thing in like 12, 16 months. And I'm going to get back in the courtroom and I'm going to go home. But then they quickly realize that they're just not going for that. You have to have like a certain amount of time. I guess it is like 18 to 24 months before you can even become eligible to try to go back into the courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, I think that happens to everybody to a certain degree when they get there. They have a grand design for how they're going to circumvent and sort of beat the program or complete it quicker than the next guy. And it's made clear to you rather quickly that that's not going to be an option, because they really don't follow like performance and progress really don't mean anything. So if you demonstrate all of those qualities, they actually tend to promote people that are selling drugs on the compound, that are gang members, that are have known like gambling affiliations, like have their own parlay scam going.
Yeah, because
it's
really,
bizarre.
Yeah, they truly feel like, oh, we're changing this guy. He just was involved in a mob assault last week,
right.
and now he's ready to be a part of the program.
Yeah.
I mean, because manipulation is one of the biggest parts of this, and they always either feel like you're trying to manipulate the program. Yanni, are you manipulating the program?
No, Miss Collins, absolutely not. I mean, look at my face, hear my voice. You know that I'm not manipulating the program. By the way, I love your shoes.
Right, but so you'll have these. Their whole mindset is you're trying to manipulate the program.
Yeah.
But yet there'll be people. There will be people who definitely are manipulating the program. It'll be the cadres. It'll be the people who are like the TC Beast. You old TC Beast. Look at that old TC Beast over there. What are you doing over there? That old TC monster. You a TC monster.
Yeah, you was a TC monster, boy. Man, this dude be writing dudes out left to right. Man, he's always in compliance. I mean, he'd be out on the walk, man.
What you doing with that floor wax on your boots, man? You state struck as a motherfucker.
Ain't nothing but no traffic cop.
Yeah, so it's a terrible place to be, for sure. But I'm bringing all of this up, the manipulation part of it, because when you're sitting in there doing the panel, and you've recited the philosophy, and you've told them how you're using these words and these tools to better your life, and you're giving it to them gold. I mean, you're in there crushing it.
Yeah.
And you get done, there is a possibility that they can still fail you on the panel because they're telling you, or because they will tell you, I don't believe you.
I don't feel like I feel like you're being disingenuous. You're not being real. You're not being genuine.
You're
So-
manipulating the program. And I mean, it is an
completely
absolute,
arbitrary.
yeah, it is an absolute double-edged sword. It's a complete, it's like two monkeys fucking a football, basically, the way that you explain it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it boils down to like their preference, personal opinion. If they feel like you're
You want to talk
you're
about
one of them, then they'll pass you on through. But
Yeah.
if they feel like you're not, and of course, I made it clear in the very beginning that I said, listen, F this. I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna shoot them straight, and I'm gonna be honest at every turn, and hopefully they'll understand, and see that I have real integrity, and that will help push me through the program. That's not what they want. They want you to be dishonest, disingenuous. They want you to. I mean, how many times did we hear? Well, just fake it till you make it. Just
Fake it
pretend.
till
Pull
you
up
make
for the
it.
camera.
Okay, let's talk real quick because I still want to talk about what it takes to become a purple dot. But real quick, do you remember any of the little slogans that were painted on the walls down in Smith Hall? Because you just reminded me with that whole fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
There were these slogans that were painted on the wall, and these were like, God, I wish I could remember.
I mentioned to you so many times on air how much I've tried to eliminate this stuff from my mind because it's so painful. I just don't remember. I remember your cartoons, and I remember
Like when you're walking down the hallways, there would be like these little slogans that were like, these were like some little offbeat slogans that had just become a part of the program.
I mean, was it stuff like "Easy does it, one step at a time"?
Like shit like that. But there was some that were just so fucking like
outrageous.
Yeah. And I just can't remember.
There was
exactly.
one of them that like quoted Meek Mill.
Oh
That
my
was, like,
God.
catching some such and such like interceptions. I don't know.
Yeah, there definitely was
Some
some
kind of
crazy.
football reference from Meek Mill. 'Cause
Yeah.
they actually had a room there that was called, what was it? It was like not public speaking, but it was some sort of like
Public
poetry.
information.
And it was poetry. It was poetry. And what it was is
The rap group, the rap room.
yeah, well, that's what it really was. But it was a poetry class, and it was actually a front for gang members to hang out in.
Yeah, because everybody wanted it was like freaking, it was definitely the rap group.
Oh, right. So there was also, this is interesting too. There was a play that we put on for Black History Month that included they wanted me to play, because I was the one white guy that did some of the acting stuff. So they wanted me to be like some kind of like
Slave owner.
corn pone like slave owner. So it was all about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, which I was like, okay, this is cool. If everybody's committed to it, I'll go ahead and be the villain. Even though I'm not that guy, I felt like, okay, this is a character. I can get into it.
Yanni's reputation changed overnight. He was known as the compound racist
I ultimately didn't end up doing it
because of that.
And you know who's tried to get me involved in this was Mrs. Smith, who was actually she was pretty cool. I actually liked her.
Can't remember her.
Yeah, so she was when you were in 3B, she was in 3A. She was a white lady, really fair skinned, kind of chubby, and had like dirty red hair. She was there when Hyman was there.
I'm really drawing a blank.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't have run into her too much. Now I did, because she was in 1B. She was in one building when I got there, so like she was.
Wait a minute, didn't she get fired?
Yeah, well,
the chubbier chick, right?
yeah. You remember the one cadre that I thought was a pretty cool guy. I liked him. He was he was really well spoken. I think his name was Chris, and
You're talking about Chris, young kid, right?
Yeah, young guy.
Oh, yeah.
He had started off as
Awesome basketball player.
I don't remember that.
Oh, this guy was nice, super nice. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Very young though. He was like probably like early 20s.
Yeah.
Big stocky dude.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he started off as a gang member when he got there.
He
Like,
got in
felt
trouble
like
with
he
her.
had
As a matter of
to be-
fact, she's the reason why. Yeah.
he wrote her some letters,
So he was a
what they call
cadre.
fuck letters. Or-
Yeah, he was a
Fuck
cadre.
kites.
He was a cadre. They had a romantic interest together. I've got a funny story about that
She
woman.
actually works at the local methadone clinic on right next to Chesapeake General Hospital.
Get the fuck out of here,
I swear, she's a counselor there,
Yanni. We got to go see this chick.
and she loves me to death. So
She'll remember me too because of the blog. She almost got me locked up in the hole because of the blog. No
way.
bullshit.
Like, she had a very liberal attitude about the
She didn't mean
newsletter
to.
and the.
She didn't mean to, but she found out about the blog because I was pretty open with the staff there. Hey, I got this blog. I write all these crazy stories about the shit that's going on in this prison, but I use code names for everybody, so it's okay. She loved it, but I had wrote this blog entry, this story about one of the guy counselors there and how he was touring. He was showing the new recruits, and it was a lot of females. He was showing them around the compound, and he came into the room where I was painting. I was painting in Smith Hall. I was painting a
Was
mural.
it Drake?
It was Drake, yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, that.
I used to have a really great Drake impression, but
he was a dweeb,
he was a heavy breather.
Yeah, he was a dweeb. But whenever the new recruits would be there, this guy would be dressed to the nines because he thought he was like a little Steve Harvey on the compound or some shit, right? He did.
He had like the zoot suit and the little like the wingtips and
Right.
yeah.
So he comes into the room one day doing the little tour with the new recruits. And, the new recruits, they're like blown away by the painting. I'm the weakest of the three mural painters there, but they're just blown away by the fact that prisoners.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I mean, I'm humble enough to say that. I don't consider myself anything great with that. But they were just blown away by the fact that prisoners were in the prison painting these pictures, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is really good, whatever. And Drake, trying to be fucking Don Juan here, he comes up and he's like, I don't know this guy from anything. I've only seen him on the compound. He does not know who I am. He does not know my name. So he comes up to me trying to, butt into
Kick
the compound.
the bobo a
Yeah,
little bit?
he wants to kick the bobo, get a little prison kick it.
Yeah, a little prison kick.
So he comes up to me and he says, hey, really good job you're doing there. You been staying out of trouble? You ain't making no more of that prison wine, are you? And I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker, I've never made prison wine at this compound, nor have I ever got caught for making prison wine, ever. And I just say to him, I say, no, sir. You know what? The program, it's actually working for me. Matter of fact, it's because of you that I decided I wanted to change my ill-found.
Oh, stop it! Are you serious?
I swear to God, I'm going on.
I bet he ate it up.
He ate it like he ate this dick up. That's basically what he did, right?
Ate a dick up till you hiccup. That's what he
Absolutely.
did, huh?
So he's walking out. He's got his chest poked out now as he's walking out.
Yeah.
And the women are like kind of like staggered behind him. They're not really following him.
Yeah.
And I turn to them as soon as he walks out the door and I say, clearly, I said, clearly he has no fucking idea who I am. And they're like, oh my God, you're so goddamn funny, right? And I mean, they're laughing their ass off. So I wrote a blog story about this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I told Smith about the blog. Smith checks out the blog. She reads that story. She was one of these new recruits herself at one time. So she's like, holy fuck, he's got to be talking about that clown Drake. So she tells Drake, she's like, yo, motherfucker, look at this funny ass story about you, motherfucker. You're in
Yeah,
this
because she had a really good sense of humor. Like I could see her
Right.
definitely getting a kick out of it.
She loved it. Problem was, he didn't. So he goes and tells Skeldon. So one day I'm sitting at my bunk and, they call over the intercom. They're like, Guerrero, to the booth. I go up to the booth. They're like, yeah, you need to go report to Skeldon's office right now. I go back to my bunk. I give the entire notebook, or it was a folder. I give the entire folder, it's literally like taped on the sides because there's just so much paperwork inside of it.
Right.
And this is the entire blog in a folder.
Wow.
I give it to Shep, which was a guy that we knew. I say, Shep, you got to hold on to this, man. I got a bad feeling about
Shep's
this.
good for that.
Yeah, and so he held on to it. And I went down to Skeldon's office, and as soon as I get down there, she was like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing good. What's up? She was like, I wanted to talk to you about your blog. And I was like, oh, fuck. And she was like, oh, fuck, what? What? It's nothing bad.
Oh, you really said that?
Yeah.
Oh,
She was
wow.
like, oh, fuck, what? It's nothing bad. I want to know how you're doing it. And I said, what?
How you're doing it?
She said, yeah. Do you have a counselor here who's helping you post this?
I kind of remember this, I think.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, oh, that's what this is about? No, I don't. As a matter of fact, you go listen to my phone calls. I got my prison girlfriend. She's out there typing.
Out there hustling.
Yeah, she's hustling.
She's hustling.
She's holding it down for the kid, you know?
Yeah, she was holding it down for the kid.
So anyways, needless to say, nothing ever came from that. I thought I was going under investigation for that. But
She could have held you down with a kid. Thank God that didn't happen. Anyway.
yeah, true. So yeah, nothing ever happened with that. But it was Smith who kind of like opened up the whole can of worms on the blog. And then Smith would end up being Smith would end up getting fired because of the guy Chris that you were talking about, because of the romantic.
Was it Chris Edwards?
No, it was Chris Richardson.
Chris Richardson.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't remember him being very good at basketball.
Dude, he was a fucking monster. The kid was huge. He was like fucking.
Yeah, he was a big guy.
He was like 6'2", 220.
He had really good genetics for sure.
Yeah, and he could jump out of the gym. I mean, the kid he was a beast. And to be that, I'm not trying to fucking suck his dick or nothing here, but he was.
I can't tell.
He was nice at basketball.
That's another prison term. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's just out in the hood or whatever, but it's always if you're doing something and it's very obvious and then you say you're not doing it, then you respond with, well, I can't tell.
I can't tell. Shit, motherfucker, I can't tell. But, yeah. So, anyways, Chris Richardson would end up he was a cadre at this point, which meant that he was an inmate police, but yet he was respected because everybody liked him. He played sports. He was cool as fuck. He had a lot of money, came from money. He had all the music. He had all the fly shit on the prison.
Yeah, I mean, some guys would hang out with him because he was so full up that he would share his stuff, his commissary and stuff with other people. I mean, we never did that. We never operated on that level because.
And like he was a younger black kid,
handouts.
Good dude. And I mean, he listened to fucking rock music. I mean, I go get like a Breaking Benjamin CD from this dude. I mean, he was fucking, but he did everything.
Yeah, he had good taste in music. I mean, he would listen to some.
He listened to every rap. I mean, and I did as well. But like, I never took him to listen to the
you
type
might have
of rock
Kendrick
and roll.
Lamar on one hand and Radiohead on the other.
Right. Yeah, he was good.
He had a very wide taste and selection of music.
But he ended up losing his cadre position, his inmate police position because of the note.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it was a crazy, and she got fired behind that. They walked her off the compound.
You know what she told me? Because I saw her at this place. Obviously, that's how I know she was there. And I assume she still works there. We should call her. I mean, I could call her right now. Maybe not.
We should go up there.
If she's still there. Now, this was a year ago. But I know that she.
Why don't you call her now and just see if she's working?
Yeah, we could do that.
Well, it's probably too late. I don't know.
It's probably not. Well, yeah, because those places tend to wrap up pretty quick.
We should make that phone call tomorrow. Find out she still works there. Maybe try to do an interview with her. Can you imagine?
I'm sure she would do it.
Can you imagine the fucking stories she would tell?
And she might have a red book.
She might expose that fucking place.
I think she would. She is a real.
She was cool
She's
as fuck.
game for a lot, I think. She told me that she still receives cards from Perry Chisholm.
Oh, Jesus. You know what was so funny? And I hated that kid. God, I hated that motherfucker, man.
I know. He just sent me a friend request the other day on Facebook.
Did he? He's not dead yet?
I know, right? He just seems like one of those guys that
is never.
How are you not locked up again?
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Young kid involved in all the gang shit. Young little white dude.
Doing way too fucking much.
I mean, wanted to fight everybody. God damn, I wanted to knock this kid's head off so many fucking times. I hated him. Absolutely hated him.
Yeah, he was all about cheap shots and bullshit.
Oh God, on the soccer field.
Yeah, anywhere. I mean, like I remember him punching this guy, and he was like 4 deep. And representing their gang or whatever.
What was it, DMI? Dead Man Incorporated? What a fucking clown.
Anyway, so he was like, he did one of those, oh, hey, man, it's cool. Like, he's left-handed, right? So he pulls out his right hand to shake this dude's hand and then punches him with the left hand.
Unreal.
Yeah. Which is exactly what's his name did to the HVAC guy. We were talking about that the other day. The white supremacist, the Aryan Brotherhood guys.
Yeah.
He did exactly the same thing because the dude didn't win a fight.
Against
a Crip or something. Yeah. And so this guy took it up. Ziegler?
Ziegler, absolutely.
Yeah, Ziegler. He took it upon himself to just splatter this dude's face, and that's what he did. He actually stuck his left hand out to shake or something or whatever. It was like, hey, hit me up with a dap.
And this guy that he hit was like a high-ranking Aryan Brotherhood dude, right?
Right, and he had been told by another guy. I think his name was Doug.
I remember Doug.
Yeah, you remember Doug.
Doug was okay.
Yeah, Doug was okay.
Yeah, he was kind of like. He was some of these guys, though, man. They would act like they were so ready for war all the time. But then when shit would
Doug got exposed in the volleyball court.
Right. So then when shit would kind of hit the fan, you would see the true colors of these guys. They would kind of tuck their tail.
And he's a big guy. I mean, that
huge.
dude is like 260 pounds.
He's huge, and he's always like he's ready for war.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck this motherfucker up. I'm gonna fuck this motherfucker.
And he's intimidating. Like, I mean, he looks like if he was like coming at me or something, and I didn't know any better, I'd be like, I'd probably try and avoid any problems with him until I saw.
But don't get me
volleyball court.
Right.
Then
So look,
I'm good.
We got to talk about these fight stories, right? Because I can't remember the volleyball court. I remember it vaguely, right?
He was a little Filipino kid, man.
Oh my God, I remember this.
30 pounds.
Yeah,
man.
his name was Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, fuck, man. I remember. No, it was Chino.
Sambon?
No, it was like Chino or
Chino. No, you talking about Chink? It wasn't Chink.
not Chink, but Chino.
And people are probably like, God, you guys are racist. No, I mean, this was a dude that was half black, half Chinese.
Yeah,
and
his
everybody
nigga-
called Chink.
yeah, Chink.
And
He
I
was a
was
good
like,
dude, though.
I don't feel comfortable calling you Chink. I don't feel comfortable calling you that. You know, what else you want to go by? He's like, bro, I go by Chink.
Yeah, he was a good dude. I liked
I guess
him.
you're Chink now.
But I'm trying to remember who Doug fought on the volleyball court.
I don't know. I think he was gone very shortly thereafter I arrived, which was October of 2013.
Let's talk about the Doug story though, because I remember this. I remember this so fucking vaguely.
So Doug, I think, was like a sergeant or some kind of. He had some rank in this, whatever this
Aryan
Aryan
Brotherhood. Yeah.
Which is funny because there was actually another guy. I like this guy. I'm not going to say his name because he is on Facebook and he's, some of these guys. I don't think these guys in a lot of instances carry their gang career onto the street. They do it to sort of survive and belong in prison. But there was another guy. I'll say his name's Sean. I remember him being
I like Sean.
Yeah, I like Sean too. And so
That
I was
is his
always
real
like,
name.
what the fuck are you doing? Why are you even? And he was the highest ranking
Was he really?
AB guy on our side of the yard and maybe the compound. And I was just like, because I knew him from Chesapeake City Jail. And I remember he got absolutely splattered by Tony Palumbo, just rearranged his face. And he'll freely admit that. And I mean, Sean was just,
Tony P. Did Tony P have one eye?
no.
Because there was a guy named Tony that was there. Do you remember Tony? He played soccer. He was in 3A, and he had the eye. I want to say
his name was Capone.
Capone.
That's what he went by.
Capone was good people. I like Capone, man. You didn't like him?
Oh yeah, Capone was awesome.
You didn't like him? Capone was good, man. He was decent. I didn't deal with him on like an
initially
everyday.
I didn't like him because that whole, just for me, like becoming like acquaintances with someone, first impressions are a lot. And the first impression I got from him was not good. Just for me, I just felt
You
like
get a feeling.
Well, I just felt like he was trying to be something that he clearly wasn't.
Well, he was a Crip, wasn't he?
I don't know that. I don't think he was a gang member.
I
But
thought-
he was one of those guys that acts like he's a
gang
from
member.
the hood or whatever. And I'm just
But
like,
that doesn't
yeah,
mean
whatever.
anything. I mean, he was a decent dude from all I knew because I didn't deal with him on an everyday basis. I only dealt with him on the soccer field. And on the soccer field, he would get in his feelings like everybody else out there.
A little bit. He was pretty controlled on the
Yeah.
soccer field compared to some like B and
Or Chisholm.
and
You.
me on the soccer field.
Oh, my God, Yanni.
Come on.
Had we had a camera while we were in Indian Creek
that
playing
was the
soccer?
picture of discipline on the soccer
Dude,
field.
when you would get butt hurt and you would run full speed at a person,
What?
oh, my God, Yanni, that video would have went viral in every country in the world.
Stop.
World
Now on the
star
softball
to-
field, I would say, yeah. That's
Oh,
possible.
God. I didn't ever see you on the softball field.
You've never seen me on the. Oh, my softball exploits were legendary.
Because you were, the pitcher, weren't you?
Yeah, I was the pitcher for, we were undefeated. And then Hyman got me moved to another building. And because all the teams, for those of you who don't know, the teams you couldn't pick players outside of your building.
Or dorm, for that matter. 'Cause
Yeah,
it would
well,
be-
depending on now for soccer, we could have both buildings because the league was small. But
Right.
softball,
It was by dorm, so it would be 3A, 3B, 2A, and so on. But
Yeah.
we're getting so far out of the...
Because that was a big thing too. Yeah, we were getting way out. But I do remember that the original idea when we were putting the soccer teams together was it was going to be by building, or it was going to be a combination of the players. And 3A made such a big stink about it, and I remember it really pissed you off because you were the coach. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're like, you know what? Just fuck it, man. It's just going to be 3B, man. We're going to put them. We're going to kick their fucking asses.
And we
that kind of
did.
thing. Yeah.
We did. We drug them. We had a mob squad.
They had a couple of really good players.
They had B.
and then a
They
bunch of
had
bullshit.
Chisholm. And as much as I hated Chisholm, don't get me wrong.
Playing the fucking soccer.
He's
a good athlete.
He's a good athlete. Yeah, he was young.
Which helps, I mean.
He ran. I mean, the kid was fast as fuck.
Yeah.
You know? But we had everybody. I mean, we're decent.
Yeah.
But
So anyway, back to the softball thing real quick.
why?
Well,
I mean, we
because
weren't
it makes me sound really good. I got moved out of the building for insubordination to the program. Imagine that. And so now I was in two building, and then the 3B team went from 17 or 18-0, and I think they lost 5 out of their next 6 games because they didn't have a good pitcher, and I was the best pitcher on the compound.
I remember that a little bit. Yeah.
And I brought a team. The team that I went to was like 4-12, and then we ended up making it to the championship game. So
Did you win?
No, we lost.
All right, that's all that matters.
Well, but we made it.
No, but yeah,
We
you
got
know,
to the big
you were a good pitcher. There's no doubt about that. Okay, you want a
Never
cookie?
would I catch.
You want a cookie?
Now, if it's like the cookie I had last night, absolutely not. And that's a whole nother story.
All right, so let's get back to the Doug getting his ass whooped on the volleyball court, because I vaguely remember this. I wasn't outside when this happened. I remember it was like Miko or somebody came in and told me about this. They were like, "God damn it, Joe, you missed it! You missed it! Doug got the shit beat out of him on the volleyball court." And I'm thinking to myself when I'm hearing this, I'm like you said, I mean, Doug is a big fucking dude. So I'm like, which big? Who beat him up? Was it
Coville?
Was it Coville? Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, right? They're like the two biggest black dudes on the compound.
Yeah.
And then it ends up being this little small, what I don't even remember, like what.
He was like half Filipino, and he was like, I mean, no bullshit. He was 130 pounds. I mean, which is the ultimate example of. First of all, here's where Doug made a mistake. Number one, he was the one that created the whole situation.
Right, because they got to arguing, and Doug was like all in the kid's face. The kid was back. I remember this exactly now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even there. This is just how it was told to me.
Okay, hit me.
But Doug was bitching about something that took place on the volleyball court. He's all in this dude's face. The dude's like, "I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you." And then all of a sudden they got to fight.
He's just like, "Man, I don't want to fight. I just want to play some volleyball, man. Let's just play ball."
They got to fight, and it was Sam. I want to say this kid's name was Sam. And Sam hit him one fucking time and knocked him out.
No, that's not how it happened at all. I mean, the rest of it happened up until the
knockout.
He hit him like 17 times in like 6 seconds.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I mean, he did the shuffle. He did the 1-2 shuffle all the way to where
Doug was like, "I don't want no more. I'm done. I'm done."
Doug didn't want any. I mean, Doug never even had an opportunity to return fire. He hit him so many times. Doug was so bloodied up. It was insane. I mean,
And
it was
I
really
remember,
insane.
well, I remember
Because
this
the guy was
part.
trying to talk his way out of it the whole time.
Right, and I remember this part as well. I remember the guy that he fought. Again, I'm thinking his name is Sam. He went up to the other AB dudes after this, and he said, "Hey, look, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't instigate this. I didn't want to do this fight." He was like, "But you know, whatever happened, happened." And the other AB guys were like, "Nah, man, you're good. You're okay."
Yeah, I've been in that situation before too, where I've had to sort of talk to the I don't know what the term is, like the officers or whatever.
The shot
gang.
callers.
Yeah, the shot callers, and just explain to them. I've had to do this once with Muslims and once with Bloods, where I've had to. Where one time I had to ask for permission to for a conflict, and then another time I didn't get into it with the guy specifically because he was a blood leader, and that would actually happen at Indian Creek. I don't remember the guy's name. He was actually a smaller guy, and it was all about the Harriet Tubman thing. See, they wanted Harriet Tubman to. Well, just go back to that real quick. This Harriet Tubman play for Black History Month. I was completely game to be the villain or be whatever. You know, I'm going to be the bad guy and the asshole. No problem. Fine, I'll do that. I'll do that because it's for whatever. It's for a good cause, and he gave me an opportunity to perform. And I'm a freaking ham bone, so I'm gonna take that offer every time, especially in prison. But they wanted Harriet Tubman to pull out a gun at the end of the play and shoot a bunch of people, like shoot a bunch of like slave masters or something. Or no, it was actually no. They wanted to shoot a guy. She wanted him because he wanted to step out of line. He didn't want to continue on the line in the Underground Railroad.
They wanted to rewrite history with
Yeah,
this
they
play.
wanted to rewrite history, and Harriet Tubman was very much anti-gun. I mean, it's historically documented that she didn't ever carry a gun, she didn't believe in guns, she never killed anybody. And one of the things that's very famous about her Underground Railroad is that she never lost anyone on the Underground Railroad. So the idea that she would lose somebody, like this guy wanted to basically be lost, and as a result of him wanting to be lost, she killed him, shot him in the back of the head. I thought it was just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I didn't want to be a part of it, and I made a big deal about it. I said, listen, if you guys want to rewrite it and have it more accurately reflect history, I'll be involved, but I'm not going to be the bad guy, and I'm not going to get, because a lot of people are not going to like me for this stuff. You know?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're putting your whole prison cred on the line here.
Put my
even-
card on the line.
Absolutely playing this role. So
Yeah, and I can't do that.
so this caused some conflict.
Yeah, so it caused some conflict. And he's like, look, motherfucker, if you just didn't want to fucking do it, then that's all you had to fucking say. And he started calling me a bunch of names and shit. And I didn't jump out of the chair. This actually happened in the act up room, and I didn't, because I knew that he was the leader on the side of the compound and the consequences. And this was a little guy. And I'm not saying just because he was little I would have wore his ass out, but I don't think I honestly would have had too many problems with him.
You never know. You never know.
No, you never know. But I mean, he didn't intimidate me. There's nothing about this guy. If he had just been a guy, there would have been absolutely nothing. And I'm not Mr. Fighter by any stretch of the imagination, but there was nothing about this guy that would have prevented me from going to that level, especially considering some of the cash shit he was talking to me. But
Sam didn't intimidate Doug either.
That's true. That's true. But here's the big difference between Sam and Doug. Sam was trying to get out of an altercation, and Doug was sticking his face right in his area, right in his square. Doug stuck his face in there. And if you feel threatened, then you got to fire off. This guy's from the opposite side of the room talking a bunch of bullshit. And I know that he's the leader of the Bloods on that side of the yard. And so as soon as those guys all fight in packs, as you know.
Yeah.
So as soon as this goes down, win or lose.
You're going to lose.
Even if I lose the fight to this guy.
You're going to lose again.
I got to do it again.
Yeah.
And I got to do it with more people. So they're going to make an example out of me.
Look, let's move on because there's two topics that I want to touch on real quick. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. The first one, let's talk about the Ziggler fight because the Ziggler fight wasn't anything like the Doug fight. The only similarity here is that this was another Aryan Brotherhood fight.
Yeah.
And this was just some absolute bullshit, to be honest with you. I mean, you want to talk about some fucking scumbag ass shit to do. What Ziggler does to this guy, and don't get me wrong, I did not rock with these AB dudes at all. I had some friends who were AB dudes. I had some friends who were Bloods, Crips. No DMI dudes, them DMI guys.
Yeah, I did. At Ryan Whitehead, who's locked up now, and you actually did a video.
Oh yeah, about Ryan.
With Ryan.
He was okay. He was okay.
Remember Paco?
Paco was good. Paco was good
involved in
people.
that bullshit, too.
Yeah, Paco was good people. Junior. Yeah, JR, exactly.
Didn't rock with him.
You know, I mean, he was okay, man. He tried, but
He was
God
my
bless.
cut mate, you know.
Dude, he tried, man. God bless it, he tried. But
Tried to do what? Tried to be everything. I think he tried to be. I think he was AB. I think he was a Crip. I think he was DMI. He tried everything.
well, okay, let's get back to the Ziggler. And, man, I wish I remembered this other guy's name. I could look him up on Facebook because he's definitely out there. He's doing really well for himself, too, this guy.
Yeah, he was an HVAC technician
Right.
On the street prior to getting locked up for whatever he got locked up for. And then he was an HVAC tutor.
I can't remember his name. Smart guy, short guy, small,
Yeah.
but he was stocky. And
Yeah, he
you
was
would have imagined this guy could fight. I'm sure he
But
probably.
he also, this is another thing. Like, the difference between Doug, I want to highlight this real quick. The difference between Doug and this guy and me is, you know, both of these guys snatched a lot of ass with
the gang shit.
claiming, well, yeah, there's that, but I mean, claiming that they were really tough guys. Like, this guy was a Marine. And don't you guys understand, man? I'm a Marine. You know, I'm a trained combat veteran. Blah, 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 blah. Hey.
Well, anyway, so what ended up
I never
happening?
claimed to be any of that.
So what ends up happening between this Ziggler and other guy's fight is, Yanni, how's it go down?
Well, so this other guy, should we come up with a name for him, like a nickname for him?
Man, God bless it. I could look him up right now.
We'll call him Glasses. Glasses
'Cause he wore
McGee.
glasses.
So Glasses McGee, because he
Yeah.
wore glasses. Glasses McGee, or Glasses the Marine. Now we'll call him Glasses McGee. I like that better. Glasses McGee had gotten into an altercation in one building, which was where all the sort of the new recruits come in. That's to use a military analogy. That's where all the newbies come. That's kind of like
the fish.
Yeah, the new fish. Indian Creek Boot Camp. That's
Absolutely.
where you learn how.
Go ring the bell like G.I. Jane. Because when you get there, you're going to want to ring that bell.
It's like Coronado Beach in California where they train the Navy SEALs. So for whatever reason, this guy, I guess, had said something about the Aryan Brotherhood. AB ain't shit. AB ain't shit.
Who says this? This is just some random guy over there.
Yeah.
And this guy, the Glasses McGee, was supposed to go handle this situation.
Yeah, Glasses McGee was told secondhand that this had happened, so I guess it was his turn. I don't know exactly how they do it in gangs. Is it like round robin? Do they spin the wheel? Do they spin the bottle? They probably do a lot of spin the bottle, jump in the closet type stuff.
And maybe it's whoever's available. Hey,
Yeah.
this happened. You need
Yeah,
to go handle
he had a
this.
spot clear in his books. They got with the secretary and they said, "Hey, look, I need you for a 3:00.
You
session.
got any availability this afternoon?
Can you fit something else into your schedule?"
Can you pencil me in? So so he's supposed to go handle this. Who was it who said this though? This was like
I couldn't say. I don't know.
No, but like, was he a Muslim? Was it a black guy?
I thought it was a Crip. I think it was that's what I heard.
Yeah, because I can't remember exactly, but I do remember that there was some kind of an altercation with another gang.
But maybe not. Maybe it was just a guy.
I want to say it was another gang. I do believe it was another gang. But go ahead.
Maybe so.
So somebody disrespected the ABs.
Yeah, so they right. So they disrespected the AB, so it was fallen on Glasses McGee to go ahead and handle this situation. And by handling it,
he's supposed to go beat this guy up.
He's supposed to go beat this guy up one-on-one. That's the plan. And of course, he's going to have a couple people go with him, and if there's any problems, they jump in, that kind of thing. Sometimes they do it straight. They'll allow a one-on-one fight to happen, and then sometimes it's already understood
there's going to be a gang war.
Right. Okay, so that wasn't the case. This was a one-on-one deal. So he went there. He got into the fight, and apparently, the guy put a couple punches on him, and this guy was not able. Glasses McGee was not able to return fire. And he tried to do some wrestling stuff, and then kind of got.
He lost.
Yeah, he lost. He lost the fight. It wasn't like a real bloodbath or anything, but he lost.
And it made them look very bad.
It made them look bad. The general idea is that he didn't put a lot of effort into it, and. Usually, in a lot of places, you have to be sort of beat into the gang, or you need to accomplish something. They'll send you on like some sort of like mission, to hit a guy or fight them or whatever, and you have to kind of prove yourself in order to get in. And in a lot of cases, at this place, that wasn't the case. There was a mix of people that did have to go through that trial by fire, and other people just to increase their numbers. I think they got to the point where they'd
let anybody in.
Oh, hey, you're interested? Yeah. Or they're almost like recruiting. Which I think they do a lot of. Anyway, long story short is he lost the fight. He didn't have a good showing. So I know that there was a conversation between Ziggler and Doug did have some rank. I don't know how after the whole volleyball incident. But
was this before or after, though?
No, this was after.
Right.
And
because there was a good little portion of time, I don't mean to cut you off, but there was a good portion of time where Doug hung his head very low after this fight because he was beaten up. I mean, it was written all over his face. I mean, black eyes, busted lips. I mean, can you imagine? You're allegedly a high-ranking gang member, and you just got the shit kicked out of you on a volleyball court for a situation that you completely instigated.
Yeah, I mean, normally in that situation, they would demand that he go back and save face. Like, you need to do this again.
Right.
And then they would force the other guy, even if he didn't want to do it, to say, hey, look, you got him with some cheap shots out on the court.
I don't think Doug. I think Doug had a good understanding that he just could not beat this guy.
Yeah, I think that was made explicitly clear.
Right.
Doug.
So
it was written all over his face.
So Doug, after getting his ass kicked out on the volleyball court, trying to save face, he puts a battery in Ziggler's back.
No, he didn't put a battery in Ziggler's back. This was the problem. Doug had received orders or whatever.
He got an email
from whomever. Yeah, he got a memo, and it said, "Leave this guy alone. We're not gonna pursue it."
The guy who lost the fight.
The guy who lost the fight. It's a dead issue. It's a done deal. Just let it go.
But Doug wanting to be the rogue.
No.
Go ahead. I don't know the story.
Or was that the story? Maybe I'm a little confused. Was it Doug? Did Doug order him to? You know what? Actually, I take it back. I know it seems like I just made this up, but it just sparked in my brain. No, they gave the message to Doug that he not do that, and then Doug did.
Put the battery.
He did, yeah. I got a little.
He told Ziggler because Ziggler was a fucking live wire.
Yeah, I mean Ziggler would do anything. Hey, Ziggler, why don't you
punch the fucking counselor in the face? Okay, I got you. How many times? Yeah. That would be his response. Whose call are we going to take?
Oh man, yeah.
Whose call are we going to take?
Whose car are we going to take? Whose car are we going to take?
Listen, we got to go do something. You can't ask me about it now. You can't ask me about it later. But we're going to go hurt some guys.
Whose car are we going to take?
Exactly, the town.
The town. Ziggler. Was what they call a crash test dummy. That's the term that's used in prison for a guy that will do anything, anytime, anywhere. Like Coffee Man, for instance. Crash test dummy.
There's a major difference between Ziggler and Coffee Man for sure. We got to throw this out there. Crash test dummy, absolutely. Yeah. Trained to fucking go and just not giving a fuck. This is Ziggler.
Yeah, Ziggler's trained to go.
Ziggler's trained to go, which means fight on sight, fight on command. He will do whatever. I mean, he's like the little pit bull. I'm not saying he's the biggest, baddest guy, but he's definitely a guy that's got a little bit of fight knowledge, a little bit of a fight game. And he's down for whatever. And so here's Doug hanging his head low, probably still suffering from a black eye. And
Maybe Doug thinks that this is going to get him back in everybody's good graces. Like now,
maybe it's the concussion talking. I mean, who knows? But for whatever reason, Doug puts the battery in Ziggler's back saying, fuck no. Oh, fuck a no. We are not going to. Oh, and real quick, I just got to throw this in there. I can't believe it's an hour later that I'm mentioning this. But when you made the call to Indian Creek and you told him Facebook.
I said Facebook? Like
Yeah.
I'm some Chinaman? Now Facebook.
No, you said like, yeah, I got a group on the Facebook.
Well, so that's actually like a Freudian slip that sounds kind of accurate. Like, hey, I don't really know a whole lot about Facebook. It's newfangled technology.
Facebook.
So, on old Facebook.
Right. Anyways, but getting back to the story. So Doug tells Ziggler.
Yeah, so Doug tells Ziggler, this will not stand. This will not stand. We must take decisive action and rectify this situation immediately.
Now, real quick, let's throw this in there. Ziggler and Glasses McGee, they're all part of the same set.
Yeah.
They're all buddy-buddy.
Right.
So the way that Ziggler goes about handling this situation, Glasses McGee doesn't have a fighting chance in hell with the way that Ziggler approaches this situation. And, Yanni, how exactly did he do that?
So Ziggler, because here I actually had firsthand knowledge of this. I didn't see the conflict,
Take
first
place.
person.
Yeah.
But I was in the shower when Ziggler got done with it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, dude, because he had blood all over him. I was like, where the hell did all that come from? And he told me the story, and he felt really bad about it. But
I'm sure
I
he
was
did.
Like, what
I mean,
the fuck? I said, how did this happen? I mean, you just busted his ass. He's like, no, I kind of feel like a piece of shit because I just went up there and I put my fist up to dap him, and then I hit him with the right. And then I just kept hitting him, and he's really fucked up.
Yeah,
he's just beat to smithereens, dude. His face looks like dog meat. I just didn't stop. I don't know. I couldn't help it. That's what he told me. And he's like covered in blood, and we're both like butt ass naked in the shower. No homo. There's nothing gay going on. It's just we're just sometimes it happens. You're having a conversation
absolutely.
because I noticed that he had blood all over his face, and I was just like, what the fuck happened to you, man? And then he told me the story, and yeah.
Crazy.
He felt really bad about it. Like
I'm sure he did. I mean, 2 seconds after just damn near killing this guy out there.
Yeah, because he was put in the infirmary. He was put in the you couldn't see him for like 3 or 4 days. Like they had to patch him up.
And I don't remember if there was any kind of fallout or retribution that took place after this, but I don't really remember hearing about anything.
Yeah, it's amazing that I even know as much as I know, and it's only because I knew Ziggler and I knew Doug. I mean, I wasn't like privy to Aryan Brotherhood politics or certainly any other politics, although you would hear rumblings from time to time about any gang,
Right.
Bloods, Crips.
It just so happened that the Aryan Brotherhood at this prison was, they were... God bless their hearts,
Yeah.
They weren't exactly.
God bless them. They surely try.
They weren't
A
exactly.
little engine that couldn't.
They weren't exactly the sharpest shanks under the toilet.
No, I mean, and hey, look, that's what you're going to get in a lot of cases with.
Some of those guys wore, though. Don't get me wrong. Some of them wore, but God bless it, there was a handful of them that were just dumb as a fucking box of rocks. But
no doubt about it.
that's with any,
Any sort of
gang.
group.
Yeah. You got your Bloods. They're going to be a lot of those guys. You'll have some smart guys, but for the majority of it, it's just easily manipulatable, or I don't know, easily
Yeah, I mean the people were
persuaded individuals.
easily persuaded. The guys are certainly probably the smarter guys do rise up through the ranks.
Right.
But it's smart guys. If there are any smart guys, they're smart guys trying to do dumb things. I mean,
or getting other people to do dumb things.
well, that's the name of the game. I mean, the name of the game. It's kind of really gangs in prison. I don't know how they are on the street because I haven't really had an opportunity to observe too many of them.
You want to go join a gang?
Just the APS Army, man.
It is a gang.
You
The
think I
mob.
moved my way up to like a sergeant or like a corporal in the APS Army or no?
Well,
I'm
real
still a
quick,
private.
what's Cody's rank?
I would think Cody would be like a lieutenant.
Cody's definitely a lieutenant in the APS Army
Yeah.
for sure. What's Aggie's rank?
She would be the mascot. Aggie's the mascot.
Oh, we can't go get us a fucking Aggie tattoo. That's not gonna look
Like if
too-
it was a football team, for instance, Aggie would be like she'd be like Ugga, for Georgia.
right.
Or, right.
the other one for Mississippi State.
Yeah, the other bulldog.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Except she'd be a cat. That'd be the difference.
Absolutely,
Bullcat.
bullcat.
I don't know.
But look, so let's move on. We definitely spent a good amount of time on this. And again, like real quick, I just want to say I don't remember hearing about any kind of fallout or retribution that
No,
happened.
I mean my
after the
understanding
fact.
was that the two of them met each other, and they like organized a sit down.
I'm sure there was definitely something that had to take
Very
place with that.
intense stuff here. you
Yeah.
know? And so they had to leave with an understanding that
This was dead.
it was dead. They deaded it.
They
That's
deaded
what
it.
They say. They dead.
Which means this is water under the bridge, and we're not going to continue on with this
we're
course
not
of
going to
action.
continue on with the drama. It's done. Let it go.
Right. We looked bad once.
Turn the
now we look bad twice. Let's just save face. Doug looks bad.
Yeah,
This
because
whole
it's like a
thing-
mistake compounded on top of a mistake.
This is two wrongs don't make a right to the fullest. But okay, our last topic, real quick. We're gonna breeze through this. I hope so. But I definitely want to talk about this phasing up to Purple Dot. And Yanni, let me just refresh your memory if you don't remember what it actually took to phase up to a Purple Dot. And again, like you mentioned, there was probably only like one or two people on the entire 1,000+ prisoner compound who actually did this. But in order to phase up to a Purple Dot, one of the requirements, and I know there was more requirements than this, but this was like the most astronomical one of them all.
You had to let Miss Collins breastfeed you. I'm sorry.
Dude, I had a cartoon that was thrown away in that notebook of Miss Collins where like a bunch of prisoners were like she was a cat with a bunch of
That's great.
but it's gone now. It's gone
Because she
forever.
had all these little like followers.
Right, and they were all like sucking on her. Oh Jesus!
Remember the cadre that you showed me earlier, the little short guy?
Right.
Yeah, he was one of them.
Oh, absolutely. But anyways, one of the most astronomical things that you had to do in an effort to become a Purple Dot was you had to write up like 100 prisoners. It was something like that, 50, 100. There was like this super number that they attached to the amount of write-ups that you had to do. And then after you did, maybe it was like 50. But then it was per month, you had to maintain a certain quota. So it might have been like 10 or 20 per month just to keep the Purple Dot.
Yeah, that's right. It was like it was like getting a loan for a car or something. Yeah,
With an astronomical interest rate on it.
Yeah, you've been able to astronomical 24.9%. Come and get it. We'll give you the car, and it's really nice. I mean, it's got the heated seats and the leather and the sunroof.
It's got a TV inside of it.
Huh?
It's got a TV inside of it.
Oh yeah, it's got
Like
a
your
TV
bunk. I
inside,
mean, that's what we're talking
13-inch
about.
LCD
We're
amp.
comparing the car to the bunk that you'll be able to sit on during group and watch TV, which is a great luxury if you were afforded that opportunity. However, in an effort to be able to do that, you need to first write up 50 prisoners and then maintain that quota per month.
I think there was other stuff you had to do too. Like it wasn't just writing, that's a lot of work. I mean, these things take time to fill out. Forget about actually the act of doing it.
Forget about the fallout and drama that's going to come from you writing up just everyday schmo in prison for the stupidest thing because you want to phase up to a Purple Dot. Not everybody's going to go for that shit. In fact, the majority are not.
No, I mean, nobody. I mean, you're going to be the butt of everybody's joke. And I never could make that trade-off. Like, I could never understand. I just look at these people, and I just could never understand how they could sell themselves out to such a degree.
Selling out to the max.
Yeah, I mean, just number one, how do you live with yourself? I mean,
Where does one go so wrong?
I mean, really?
To believe that this program, but to believe that anything is worth that. Because, there's no comfort in that. Yeah, sure. You get to have that Purple Dot and lay on your bunk and watch Judge Judy while everybody else is in group.
Keep in mind, we didn't even have cable television, so the only thing that you're going to be able to watch during the day is Judge Joe Brown, Hot Bench,
some bullshit. And that's the crazy thing about
Richard
it.
Irvine show.
Not only did we not have cable, and we had these little fucking cheap antennas that we could buy. But talk about reception, because sometimes where your bunk would be located at, you've got 15 TVs right there around you. It'll look like walking into a Best Buy that's got a clearance sale on 13-inch clear TVs.
A Best Buy in 1976, maybe.
Right. But everybody's got an antenna up, and then it's like, oh my God, like the Cracker Box Wars. Do you remember that? Because on top of your locker, you've got 4 Cracker Box. Everybody wants to have the highest antenna.
Right.
Just to get the reception. And like when one guy moves his antenna, then everybody's moving their antenna. Oh, Jesus.
It's like stealing cable from your neighbor. But imagine stealing cable from 10 neighbors. There's only so much bandwidth to go around, right? I mean, not everybody can have
Fox.
Joe Blow's cable.
Right. And then you talk about the premium channels, which would be like Fox, and like maybe The Following is on. And everybody in the fucking dorm is watching The Following.
Sure.
Joe Carroll, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Jesus, man, that show, all-time classic right there. And I mean, a prison favorite for sure. Or maybe Empire. There's a lot of guys in prison that would watch Empire. And, when these shows come on, I mean, every TV is pretty much tuned to those shows.
Absolutely.
So everybody's trying to get Fox in on their TV, but yet it's just not going to happen.
And it's building the building. Like there may be one building where Fox or NBC, just the reception is pretty good. Like, and the thing about it is, it's not like old school respect. These were all digital signals that you were capturing from the air. So there isn't like a fuzzy version of it. You either get it
or you don't.
I mean, it's just, or you might get a frame here or there, but I mean, that's it. You either get it or you don't. And some people would try and put in for another building in order to get better reception. Like for instance, I never moved to another building, but I certainly moved throughout the dorm to get to a spot. And I actually took a top rack instead of a bottom rack because that would get me better reception. So you really are willing to compromise your living situation because a bottom rack, especially once you get to be a little bit older, you really want to just be able to slide into that bottom rack. You don't have to climb up. I mean, it's a real drag to have to climb up in the rack every day because it's a pain in the ass to get out. You got to take a piss. It's just a big ordeal. But I was willing to do that in order to get good reception because we only had 13, 14 channels that we could conceivably get, and 3 of those were PBS channels, and then like two of them were rather like public access channels. Like, you remember the show that they had at night? It was called what was it called? Old People Dancing or something?
Right. I mean, matter of fact, one of them was actually Eagle's Nest. I saw Eagle's Nest on TV, which is a country club. Right here.
But they have one section which is country.
Well, it's 3 sections. It's rock, rap, and country.
Okay, that shows you.
And there's 2 locations. One in Virginia Beach. That's the one that they filmed the show at. It would come on like Friday or Saturday night at like 12:30 at night. And then there's one that's literally right down the street from here. It was me seeing Eagle's Nest on this late night show with these people doing all of this line dancing that actually became one of my favorite spots to go to when I was actively pursuing a nightlife. Now I don't do that anymore.
Actively pursuing a line dancing career?
No, not once ever. But it's definitely a hip spot to go to. A lot of girls, a lot of people. But pretty crazy. Look, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. I'm sitting here about to fall out. I mean, I'm dragging ass. I'm yawning. I got to go blow my nose. I need to take a nap. I need to take a dump. No, I'm kidding about that part. I need to do a lot of things.
Okay, so you got a list of stuff that you need to take care of. Let's just stick with that. That's a little too much information. I've got stuff that I need to do.
Right.
And I don't want to do it on camera.
We've spent this entire podcast basically talking about Indian Creek, talking about the people from Indian Creek, reliving some pretty crazy stories that I've completely forgot about. Shit, I'm ready to make a video about the Doug Sam fight now. I mean, this is big news. This is something that I completely forgot about.
What about the Longmire fight, real quick? Do you remember when he got hit so hard that he shit on himself?
No.
And then there was another guy that actually, because I guess he didn't want it, he thought somebody was going to take it and try and identify him with his doo-doo. I remember him coming out to the softball field and he picked up Longmire's turd and then took it somewhere.
Wow.
That's real.
Wow.
And that was the kid that hung himself.
Right, and killed himself. Yeah, that's tragic. Look, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Sucks that we're wrapping it up on that note. There's going to be a lot more coming. I do hope that everybody enjoyed this. Thank you all for rocking with us on this podcast, and for Yanni as well. Thank you very much for your insightful information and also for making these phone calls. I mean, you're definitely a class act, and I really enjoy doing these podcasts.
I'm sure
with
Indian
you.
Creek feels the same way.
I'm sure they
that
do.
guy Yanni, he's a real class act.
You've probably got some sort of a stalking charge coming in your direction.
Yeah, I probably got a PB-15 out on me right now.
Hey, look, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you did so, well, you can't really leave a like and a comment. But as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day.